It was a bright Saturday afternoon, the kind that beckoned people outdoors. Marcus, a local mechanic known for his kindness, was taking a leisurely drive through his neighborhood. As he cruised past familiar sights, the bakery with the delightful scents wafting through the air, the park filled with children's laughter, he spotted something out of the ordinary. A silver sedan sat awkwardly by the side of the road, the driver's side tire flat and forlorn. A woman in her 30s stood beside it, her expression a mix of frustration and concern. Marcus felt a familiar tug at his heart. He couldn't just drive past. He pulled over, parking his truck behind her car. "Need some help?" he called out, stepping out with a smile. The woman looked up, relief flooding her face. "Oh, yes, please. I didn't think anyone would stop." Marcus approached her, noticing the urgency in her eyes. "No problem at all. Let's take a look." As he knelt beside the tire, he introduced himself. "I'm Marcus, just a guy who likes to help out." "I'm Lila," she replied, her voice steadier now. "I'm on my way to an important meeting, and this couldn't have come at a worse time." With deft hands, Marcus worked on the tire, feeling a warmth growing as they chatted. Lila spoke passionately about her work in the nonprofit sector, her determination to help families in need evident in her every word. Just as Marcus finished tightening the last bolt, he glanced up and saw a black SUV slow down, its windows tinted dark. A figure inside watched them intently, sending a shiver down his spine. "Everything okay?" Lila asked, noticing his sudden stillness. "Yeah, just keep an eye on that SUV," Marcus replied, his instincts alerting him to something amiss. As Lila nodded, the SUV continued down the road, but Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that their encounter was only the beginning of something far more complicated. With the tire changed and Lila expressing her gratitude, Marcus couldn't shake the unease that lingered. Little did they know, a shadow was closing in, and their act of kindness was about to unravel a web of secrets and dangers that would change their lives forever. As Lila settled into her car, Marcus wiped the sweat from his brow, still feeling the lingering unease from the SUV. "Are you sure you're okay to drive?" he asked, glancing at her as she fumbled for her phone. "I'll be fine, just need to get to that meeting," she assured him, though her voice carried a hint of worry. "Just drive safe, all right? And if you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out." Lila smiled, her expression brightening. "I really appreciate your help, Marcus. This means a lot to me." After exchanging numbers, Lila drove off, waving as she turned the corner. Marcus watched her go, feeling a strange mixture of satisfaction and concern. He hoped that the SUV hadn't been connected to her in any way. The following week passed slowly for Marcus, filled with work and the usual routine. But the encounter with Lila lingered in his mind. On a Tuesday evening, just as he was closing up shop, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Lila. "Hey, Marcus, I could really use your help again. Can you talk?" His heart raced. "Sure. What's up?" he replied. A few moments later, Lila called. "There's a family in trouble, a single mother with 3 kids. Their car broke down and I'm trying to help them out. I thought of you." "Absolutely. Let's go," Marcus replied without hesitation. He could feel a surge of purpose. Helping others was his passion, and now he had someone to share that with. When they arrived at the family's home, the scene was heartbreaking. The mother, Sarah, stood outside her old, battered car, trying to soothe her crying children. Marcus quickly assessed the situation. "What seems to be the problem?" he asked. "It just won't start. I don't know what to do," Sarah exclaimed, her voice laced with desperation. Marcus got to work, but as he did, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He glanced around, his instincts kicking in. Out of the corner of his eye, he spotted the same black SUV parked down the street, the figure inside watching intently. As Marcus worked on the car, Lila entertained the children, making funny faces and telling stories. They laughed, and for a moment the weight of the situation seemed to lift. But Marcus's focus was split. He felt a presence looming. Just then, the figure from the SUV approached. He was tall, wearing a dark jacket that matched the vehicle. "Excuse me," he said, his voice deep and serious. "What's going on here?" Marcus stood up, wiping his hands on a rag. "We're just helping this family with their car." The man eyed Marcus, then shifted his gaze to Lila. "You shouldn't be here. It's not safe." "Who are you?" Lila asked, stepping forward. "And why are you following us?" "I'm Jake. I'm here to protect you, Lila. There are people who don't want you getting involved with that family." Marcus exchanged glances with Lila, confusion etched on their faces. "Protect her from what?" Marcus asked. "There's a larger issue at play here. That organization you're trying to help is tied to something dangerous. They're connected to a corporate scheme that exploits families in need." As Jake revealed more about the organization, Marcus and Lila listened intently, realizing the gravity of the situation. "I've been investigating them for months," Jake continued. "They don't want their dirty secrets exposed. Lila, you've put yourself in danger by trying to help these families." "What do we do?" Lila asked, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "We fight back," Marcus declared, determination surging within him. "We can't let them intimidate us into silence." With Jake's insider knowledge and Lila's connections, they began to strategize. They needed evidence, a way to expose the organization's corruption. They enlisted the help of the community, reaching out to local activists and organizations willing to stand with them. As word spread about their cause, the community rallied around Marcus and Lila. They organized a meeting at the local community center, hoping to gather support and share their mission. The room buzzed with energy as people filled the seats. Marcus spoke passionately about kindness and the importance of standing up for those who couldn't fight for themselves. Lila shared her experiences, connecting with the audience on a personal level. But, just as the meeting gained momentum, Marcus received a text, a threatening message warning them to stop digging into the organization's activities. "Whoever is behind this won't stop until they get what they want," Jake warned, his brow furrowed. "We need to be careful." Despite the threats, the community event was set to go ahead. Marcus and Lila put their all into planning, determined to raise awareness and gather support. On the day of the event, the atmosphere was electric. People filled the park, banners waving in the breeze. Families enjoyed the activities, while others gathered around Marcus and Lila, eager to hear their message. As Marcus spoke to the crowd, he could feel the energy shifting. They were united, a force to be reckoned with. Just as Lila took the stage, the familiar black SUV appeared at the edge of the park, its presence casting a shadow over the joyous occasion. The tension in the air thickened as the figures from the SUV stepped out. Marcus's heart raced as he watched them approach, a mix of anger and fear coursing through him. "Lila!" one of the men shouted, drawing attention. "You need to stop this now. You have no idea what you're getting into." The crowd fell silent, a collective breath held in anticipation. Lila stepped forward, unwavering. "I'm not afraid of you. We're here to help, and we won't back down." The confrontation escalated, but Marcus felt a surge of strength from the people around him. They were united, standing firm against the intimidation. After the confrontation, Marcus and Lila regrouped. "We need a new plan," Marcus said, determination shining in his eyes. "We can't let them scare us." With Jake's help, they devised a strategy to gather evidence against the organization, utilizing the support of the community to back them up. They began reaching out to other local organizations, spreading the word about the corrupt practices and rallying more people to their cause. As they formed alliances, Marcus and Lila discovered a network of activists already fighting against similar injustices. They shared resources, strategies, and stories, building a coalition that would be hard to ignore. But just as they felt momentum building, they received a tip about a meeting the organization was holding. This could be the breakthrough they needed. Marcus, Lila, and Jake decided to attend the meeting undercover, hoping to gather incriminating evidence. The atmosphere was tense as they navigated through a dimly lit room filled with shady characters. They overheard conversations that confirmed their worst fears about the organization's plans to exploit vulnerable families even further. Just as they prepared to leave, one of the members noticed them. Realizing they had been compromised, they quickly left the meeting, adrenaline pumping. "We need to get this evidence out," Marcus urged. They planned a press conference to share their findings with the public, aiming to expose the organization's corruption and garner community support. Lila worked tirelessly to gather testimonies from families affected by the organization's practices. The day of the press conference arrived, filled with anticipation and anxiety. Marcus and Lila stood before a crowd of reporters, community members, and families who had been impacted. As Lila spoke, recounting her experiences and those of the families they were helping, the weight of their mission hung heavily in the air. The audience was captivated, rallying behind their cause. But just as they began to gain momentum, an unexpected disruption occurred. A member of the organization burst through the doors, furious and threatening. The atmosphere turned chaotic as the organization's member confronted Marcus and Lila, warning them to back off. But the community stood strong, united against the intimidation tactics. In the aftermath, Marcus and Lila received legal threats and warnings. But instead of backing down, they continued to fight, knowing they had the support of their community behind them. With renewed hope, they prepared for a final showdown against the organization. They gathered their allies, each person bringing a unique strength to the fight. The stakes had never been higher, and they were ready to stand together. Just the night before, Marcus received a disturbing phone call from someone close to him, leaving him feeling vulnerable. But he knew they couldn't turn back now. The confrontation unfolded with tension and urgency. As they faced off against the organization, the truth began to unravel. The community's strength shone through, showcasing the power of unity and kindness. In a climactic moment, they exposed the organization's corrupt practices to the public, swaying opinion in their favor. But just as victory seemed within reach, a shocking betrayal threatened to undermine everything. In the face of betrayal, Marcus and Lila rallied their allies. They discovered crucial evidence that turned the tide, revealing the extent of the organization's deceit. With the truth now exposed, the community's resolve strengthened, and they pushed forward with renewed determination. As the threat was neutralized, the community began to heal. Marcus and Lila reflected on their journey, realizing how far they had come. Their act of kindness had sparked a movement that brought people together. They began plans for ongoing community support, focusing on helping those in need and creating a lasting impact. Marcus and Lila solidified their friendship, both having grown from the experience. They committed to continuing their work together, focusing on kindness and compassion. As they prepared for their next community event, they shared a sense of purpose and excitement about the future. The story concludes with Marcus and Lila continuing their mission, inspiring others to join them in spreading kindness and support. Their journey showcased the transformative power of compassion, leaving a legacy that would impact their community for years to come. Thank you for joining us on this journey of kindness and courage. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more tales of hope and inspiration, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Share this video with someone who could use a little kindness in their life, and let's keep spreading the message together.